I've often said, what makes a really great car designer is the sense that you don't forget that 12, 13-year-old inside you. When you're 12, 13 years old and you're drawing cars, you're basically fearless and you're not afraid to draw weird and crazy, and you're doing it just for pure entertainment value. The moment that you lose sight of that point, you will put everyone to sleep. So keeping that thread of that inner 12, 13-year-old kid who's not afraid to take chances, that's what makes a really good designer, and that's what makes a really good car.
Well, this project to develop this new Toyota sports car was developed at Calty. The idea came from us. There really is not an iconic sports car in the Toyota brand right now. Lexus introduced LFA, really great car, exotic sports car, supercar, and Scion has FRS, but the Toyota brand has nothing. So we really wanted to fix that and try to find a great solution for what we would call a true sports car, and at the high performance end. Toyota stopped producing Supra in the late 90s. So we wanted to pick up some spirit, some enthusiasm from that last generation sports car that Toyota had.
Generally we start with the creative process. We start with large concept. From concept we try to create an image board of what this car could be without even designing the car yet. So some kind of hint of where we want to go with this, kind of a roadmap. From there, once we establish that roadmap, we start sketching. In this case, everybody in the building, we invited all designers to be a part of. Many hundreds of sketches were developed. And from there, there's obviously a review process that brings us down to maybe 6 exteriors and 6 interiors. We go into a scale model, a small scale model, then we go larger in the next step, and then finally full size. And from that full size model, we thinking about details, parts, and from there it's just completes and paint. We paint it, then we get to enjoy kind of the fruits of our labor and take a look at what it finally looks like. The name is FT1, it's a future Toyota #1. The intent is to really show what Toyota could do in terms of sports car.
Well, I think the overall proportion as a front engine rear drive car, we really wanted to inject that kind of excitement into this product. Supra and the entire lineage of the 2000 GT they were always straight sixes. And while we're not saying what engine's going in this car, we wanted it to give the impression anyway that it's in the lineage of that straight six motor. So there's a long dash to axle. Cabin architecture is very snug and tight. The track is out really wide and engine set low. I think those are all key attributes of not only the last generation Supra, which I think is the most iconic Supra, and also the Toyota 2000 GT.
So the inspiration for the vehicle, a lot of it came from understanding the fact that we're trying to create an authentic sports car. We wanted to kind of employ the things that to be realistic and believable for a vehicle of this type. You create your own unique design alchemy for the interior that provides, I think, a completely unique taste for the viewer. The steering wheel is kind of the first piece of this kind of information setup that we have. There's a small screen on top that actually has your shift light, it has your prindle that runs through, and it has your modes. We have 2 controllers, 1 per side, and the idea is that you can drive this car at speed and then still operate kind of the functions that you need to for a real car, not just for racing. The heads-up display, we call it the HUM heads-up meter. We tested out some heads-up displays on fighter jets. We kind of got the idea that this is clearly kind of the best way to go. They're not constantly looking down, they need to be looking ahead. Well, you want to be keeping your eyes on the track in front of you, so all of the meters should be directly out ahead of you. FT1 has kind of unique interior architecture. We call it the slingshot architecture. So the idea is that when you're sitting in the seat, which is an unusual design unto itself, you're actually the projectile in that design. The seating design is very purpose-built, very much like the interior. There's only soft padding kind of where you need it. Everything else is hard shell.
Yeah, it's always fun seeing a car in motion. A lot of our development time is spent reviewing static models, so when we can actually get inside and drive it and see the car moving, it presents a different view, a different perspective on what we did. And we all know cars are animate objects flying around in our world, and they're never really were meant to be a static object. So we really love it when we can experience the full design in that aspect.
When we see it in person at the end, I think that's kind of the icing on the cake for all the designers, that if we did the right thing, and I think that in this case it was pretty stunning. Hopefully, you know, it gets people's kind of blood, you know, temperature kind of up and excited about.
Everything we did, every shape on this car had a sense of purpose. We coined the term functional sculpting. Every aspect, every scoop, flip up, lip, whatever, to create downforce, it all had a purpose.
We kind of looked at this car as an exogenetic process. It's like the car is designed by outside forces, meaning aero. And the designers kind of use their hands to, you know, create a shape that feels like that. It's almost like an erosion process that creates this. And at the tips of everything, every form, there's a trip edge that controls the air to create more downforce.
Every designer feels a slave to the compromises sometimes. At this point, you know, this car is one of those cars that going into it, I mean, it's all excitement, but this car actually, I think, exceeds my expectations of kind of how it could possibly come out. Collectively, we had such a strong concept, really just an amazing kind of groupthink where we all kind of had the same philosophy coming together, and that was, you know, it goes all the way up the ladder. Everybody had the same intention for the car.
This is exactly the kind of car that you envision yourself creating when you're a little kid and you're doing all your doodling on your notepads in school. It's the kind of car that you always sketched. So from that point of view, it's taken a while to get to that point. You know, Toyota as a company, we kind of got out of the sports car business for a while. We're trying to re-engage our excitement and our fun to drive the aspects of our vehicles. So from that point of view, I'm really thrilled that we're able to jump back into these kind of projects.
We want this car. You know, we want this in our garage. We want to wash it, we want to touch it, and we could say we're a part of this big project that hopefully has a lot of historical value to bring back a sports car in the Toyota brand. I think that's kind of the big goal, you know, from our perspective. But mainly, you know, from a selfish perspective, I want this car in my garage.
I think people are going to be really surprised to see this car. It's been a long time since we've had a sports car of this magnitude, a proposal that we've thrown out there and said, hey, what about this? When this car rolls out, it'll probably be dark, maybe the headlights will be on, maybe you can pick up a bit of the silhouette of the car and you understand immediately what kind of animal this is. And that's when the reaction starts. I think if we can achieve that, then it's pretty successful.